Hello beautiful people, thank you so much for joining me here today and welcome to today's Future Spouse Pick a Card reading. In today's Pick a Card reading, I want to find out how your future spouse sees you. So I want to look into how your future spouse sees you on an emotional and soul level. I want to find out how your future spouse views your strengths and your weaknesses, and then I want to end off with the juicy juicies and find out how your future spouse sees you physically. So if you want to find out this information and you want to delve deep with me today, I need you to pick one of these three piles. Pile number one, we have the Moonstone crystal. Pile number two, we have the Celestine crystal. And pile number three, we have the Selenite crystal. I highly recommend that you go with your first gut instinct. Spirit is going to guide you towards the pile which has the most relevant information for you. And if you need a little bit of help to choose your pile, you can always head over to a random number picker, or I welcome you to explore each pile to see which pile resonates with you the most. And once you have chosen your pile, guys, I shall see you in your reading. Hello gorgeous pile number one, welcome to your reading. You have chosen the Moonstone crystal and I will touch upon what the moonstone represents at the end of the reading, so be sure to remind me to do that because I may forget. So we are looking into how your future spouse sees you. So straight away on the board I have Pisces here and Mercury, so I'm going to throw out the sign Pisces. I'm also going to throw out the signs Gemini and Virgo because they are the signs which do or are represented by Mercury. But also I'm really feeling the energies of Aquarius and Cancer here as well. Now don't be disheartened if you don't have like a moon rising or sun sign in either of those signs. It may just mean that you embody that kind of energy, or you do actually have those energies very strongly in your chart, but you may not realize it. And I'm going to give you a little example here. So for instance, me personally, I have Neptune in the 12th house, but it's conjunct my ascendant. So Neptune in the 12th house is actually an amazing placement to have, but anything in the 12th house seems to be very hidden. But because it's conjunct that ascendant, it actually brings an extra flavour to my rising sign. So it brings that extra flavour of Pisces rising, even though I'm not a Pisces rising. So there are certain conjunctions and things like that in your chart which can make those energies really pop, even if they are not your big three or any of your main planets. So bear that in mind. But if you do want an astrological reading and you'd like me to look at your astrology chart, you can head over to my Etsy shop, which is in the description box down below, and book a general reading with me. And by the way, you can tailor that reading however you want it. It can be general, it can be about love, it can be about whatever the F you want. So I'm going to start off by saying you are somebody who is very intuitive. You could be borderline psychic or be very psychic, but I definitely feel even if you're not like a Pisces sun or a Pisces moon or a Pisces rising, you are somebody who is very, very empathic. And I mean highly sensitive, but not sensitive in like the crybaby kind of way, more sensitive as in you can feel people's feelings. You can't really run away from feeling people's feelings. I also want to say for this pile, if you're somebody who hasn't got restrictions on the content that you see, this could be on TV, it could be on social media platforms, I would highly suggest that you do look into that, because you're going to be highly affected by the things that you see or the things that you hear. I want to say the same with music as well. You may find that everyone loves a certain song and it's like everyone's jamming to it, and you may be like, I don't know what it is about that song, but it's really kind of tinny, it's really kind of affecting me on a soul level. You're just a lot more hyper sensitive and aware than the normal person. I do feel like your future spouse doesn't necessarily understand certain aspects of you, but I don't think it's a negative because I think they accept it. There's something about you that is really, it's like you're your future spouse's tutor. You're a teacher of some kind to your future spouse. And I really feel like your future spouse is a protector of the knowledge that you have to give. Do you know what? This is really beautiful. That's actually really beautiful. I love that. But they don't necessarily understand your gifts, your abilities, your sensitivity. But I do think they try to understand. But at the same time, when you are expressing this, and you may express feelings that you felt throughout the day to them, you may express higher concepts or higher spiritual concepts, you may be able to see something that's very ground level, but actually see it from a higher perspective and be able to bring a whole new level of understanding to that. And I hope that makes sense. It's times like this where your future spouse loves to hear about it. So, yes, on a very earthly level, they don't understand some of your gifts and abilities, but they are fascinated and they want to learn more about them. And they really do accept that, and they really do encourage you to be your most gifted self. I hope that's making sense. Now, I do also want to say that you may have a way with words as well. You may be very poetic with words. You may be able to tell a story with your words. It's like your words are 3D. Now, I'm going to bring this up, and I don't want anyone to be offended here, but I do think you may be somebody who could have the potential of thinking that another person is a mind reader. And I think it is because you do have that element of connectivity with people. But people around you, including your future spouse, they're not quite there yet with like the mind reading and the feeling and things like that. So there could be an element of sometimes your future spouse being like, I'm not a mind reader. Just communicate how you're feeling, I'm not a mind reader. But I do think if you're not communicating how you're feeling within your marriage, it's because you don't quite know how to express that energy into words. So sometimes you may actually try and explain energies and your future spouse is like, I just don't get it. Now, I do feel like your future spouse is somebody who's highly intelligent, and by the way, you are highly intelligent as well, and this is what brings you both together. But you're highly intelligent on a different level. You're up here in the ethereal realms, bringing like true, like divine spiritual knowledge. I'm really seeing like the Hierophant here as well. And then your future spouse is very intelligent when it comes to very practical, I want to say like common sense kind of intelligence. So let's have a little look into, oh, I'm actually getting a song. On and on, keep on riding on and on. What's that? Hot Natured Benediction. So I'm getting the song Hot Natured Benediction for you. I know that song well, but I listened to the Loud Luxury remix of it, which is just a jam. But the Loud Luxury remix is the remix without the words. But there's like sounds in there that's really healing. It just kind of charges me up. It feels like I'm being cleansed. I don't know if any of you remember back in the day when you used to have VHSs and used to put in the cleaning VHS tape. That's literally how I feel when I listen to Hot Natured Benediction, but the Loud Luxury remix. It's something that those sounds do to me. It just cleanses my soul, cleanses my being, and really lifts me up. But for you guys, I'm not getting the remix. I just had to share the remix because it's a jam, okay? But for you guys, I'm getting the song itself. Now, I want to say there's a couple of meanings to this song. I think one of them, and it could pertain to this Pisces card here as well, okay? There could be double meaning here. I feel you are so enlightened and you're so hyper aware that it's quite painful for you at times to do the regular kind of like Groundhog Day when it comes to life. Okay, and with the Pisces card here, as you can see, the fish are chasing each other's tails, but they're just going round and round and round and round. And the chorus of that song is on and on, keep on riding on and on. And it makes me think that you are in a place at the moment, okay, this is something currently. And I do feel like you could be thinking, oh my God, is this it? Is this all there is to life? Is it just going to be the same SHIT, different day? But I do think this is a very strong calling for you to say, no, things are going to change. Things are going to develop. There is going to be newness. I'm also sensing a lot of energy here around like the shift, new earth, moving into 5D, those kind of concepts as well. So I don't know whether that's something that you're interested in, researching, whether it's something you should research. And maybe if this is something that you are interested in, it could be when are things going to change. I actually feel that, and this is the Aquarius energy coming in now, I do feel like you are very sensitive to your surroundings, but sensitive to the point where you feel like there should be more peace in the world. You feel like there's certain issues in the world that can easily be conquered through just a bit more thoughtfulness. And I do think as well, it's like you've got this energy of when is this ever going to change? When are things ever going to get better? When are we ever going to get out of these like dark ages I'm hearing? Okay, so I don't know whether you call this period of time the dark age. Another concept as well, that we're supposed to be moving into a golden age. We're supposed to be moving into a very heart. I'm feeling like the heart here. So I don't know whether there's a connection between the heart and Leo and moving into a golden age, and the golden age representing Leo. I'm not too sure about that, but anyway, that's came up. But I'm feeling something around that as well. But at the same time, that particular song, and I don't know the words very well, but I know certain aspects. The words are quite simple, by the way. I feel like it's about having a bit of a spring in your step, and then meeting someone and feeling like you're coming home. Now, when I think about meeting someone and feeling like you're coming home, I think about a twin flame connection. Because with the twin flame connection, a lot of people with that connection always talk about the fact that their twin flame feels like home. They feel like coming home, which makes me feel like your future spouse is your twin flame. Now, I do also think that your future spouse is going to bring grounding to your gifts, your spiritual beliefs. And I do think this is going to be something else that is very, very prominent when it comes to this song and why it's coming up for you. I feel like your future spouse is going to, they nurture your gifts. They nurture the way that you are. I feel like for some of you, I think for some of you, they're going to financially help you with certain goals that you have. Very much around things like spirituality and helpfulness, charitable things as well, okay? Humanitarian causes. Your future spouse is going to come in and they're going to help you financially with this. I do feel like your future spouse is fairly well off, to be honest. I do think that there's somebody who is involved in things like investment. This could be investment within property. This could be monetary investment. So I do think that they do have, a good amount of money, okay? I remember I saw a psychic, and this wasn't even that long ago, and they said, there's somebody in the vicinity, they're right there if you want to meet them, they're a bit older than you, they're rich, but they're not a millionaire. And I really felt like saying that then, but it's like they're well off, not a millionaire or anything, but they're well off. But I didn't like it when the psychic said that. Like, it's like, just no. Like, don't just say that they're really well off, and don't even tell me they're not a millionaire, because you just made me disheartened. I'm not a gold digger or anything like that, but do you know what I mean? Just give a girl hope, yeah? Give a girl some optimism, give a girl hope. But yeah, I also feel like if you are in the rat race, I'm hearing rat race. If you are in the rat race currently, my love, my darling, why have I just said that? That was a scream. That was a very loud scream. Is that how you're feeling now? Like, I've got to go to work tomorrow, If you're in the rat race, this is also a sign to say you're going to get out of it. You're going to get out of the rat race. You are going to leave the cycle. You are going to come home to what you've always been destined to do. I do feel like you are somebody, and look at where your North Node is, because your North Node could be in the 11th house, it could be in the 1st house, okay? You don't have to resonate with that fully, alright? But I feel like you have a very prominent purpose on this earth, and it's very important that you achieve it, and I think you feel that importance, and I think at times you may get a little bit frustrated. I want to say in your past life you didn't complete something that you have to complete in this life. And I think this is a message to say, if you don't complete this thing, and it has something to do with showcasing yourself to help others, has something to do with your spirituality, your gifts. But if you don't showcase it in this life, you're going to have to come back, you're going to do it again. You're going to go on and on, keep on riding on. I love that song. I know we've gone off topic when it comes to your future spouse here, but I feel like I need to tell some of you, you are on the journey to get out of the rat race. You won't always be waking up Monday morning going, I've got to go away, you're going to actually find somewhere that you belong and doing something that you really enjoy and what lights you up. And for you, I can definitely feel like you need to do something that makes a difference. So let's have a look into why your future spouse is drawn to you on a soul level. And bear in mind that not all of our future spouses are going to be that deep and aware and sensitive. You are, my darling, I can definitely tell that you are. So you will understand why your soul is drawn to your future spouse. Like, you'll get that, you'll see that. But your future spouse, on the other hand, and I do feel like this is the fact with you in the early days of your marriage, because I do feel like you are going to develop your future spouse and open your future spouse up a lot to these spiritual concepts, and you're going to push them deeper within themselves, and it's going to be absolutely beautiful, and they're going to break out of the cocoon like a butterfly. But interestingly, actually, I was really using the Mercury for you because I feel like you are very highly intelligent, but at the same time I was looking at Mercury, I just kept seeing your future spouse, and there is a butterfly on there after I said that. So but I do feel like your future spouse may be very unconscious. to how their soul views you. So it's very unconscious. Now we've got birthing new creations, birthing a new age, and the inner temple. I really do feel like your future spouse sees you as somebody who can help them elevate. I want to say, okay, because I'm getting two languages here, and I feel one of the languages is your language. I feel like you're a lot more deep and spiritual when it comes to your language. And bear in mind, you know, I'm in the middle of like the earthly realms and the up above realms. So I'm not very good at either of those languages. I'm in the middle. I don't know whether you can tell. I'm not the best communicator because I'm in the middle. But I feel like your language is very kind of profound. It's the best way I can describe it. And their language is very earthy. And I can feel your language is more like, I'm elevating your soul to a higher level so that you can go with them. And then their language is, you're giving me more. You're showing me that there's more to life. That you're showing me that there's more, that I have more purpose than what I do on a daily basis. And you are showing me how to fall in love with my life. So that's what I'm feeling here. So that is what your future spouse's soul sees when the soul is viewing you and is being drawn to you. And I'm doing this with my boobs, it looks funny. They just see you as pure love. They see you, their soul sees you as a tutor, their soul sees you as somebody who needs to evolve them and push them to the next level in their life. Because if they didn't meet you, they'd be stuck in that rat race too. They'd be stuck in Groundhog Day. And I do think they'd be on their deathbed regretting not living their life to the fullest. And I think that's something else very earth-wise that you bring your future spouse. I think you really pull out parts of them that they didn't know were within them. I think you come along and you really do navigate your future spouse onto their soul path, and they feel this, but they don't necessarily understand what this is. They just see this as you. I'm getting like really like coaching energy here. So I don't know whether you are a coach. I don't know whether you're a teacher. I don't know whether you are a therapist of some kind. And I even want to throw out there things like paramedics, nurses, doctors, police force is another thing as well that I'm gathering here with you. It's like meeting you felt for them like walking through a portal. One day their life was grey, mundane, and then they meet you and all of a sudden the world is full of technicolor and opportunities that they didn't even know were there. And I think they physically protect you on earth, very physically, covet you, protect you, make sure that you're safe, but you energetically protect them. So there is a mirroring going on here, and that is that twin flame energy again. Now I'm very strongly feeling here, and it's very specific. They give you the physical necessities to live your most abundant destiny, and you give them the energetic essentials for them to live their most abundant destiny. So when it comes to your strength, how they view your strengths and what your strength is or strengths are in their eyes, they do see you as a bit of a warrior spirit. They definitely see you as somebody who's willing to stand up for what's right, someone who's willing to stand up for your rights, but also willing to stand up for other people's rights as well. And I do feel like they are very proud of you because you are so healing to a lot of people. I definitely see you as the person that your future spouse says, okay, if you've got an issue, speak to pile number one. Pile number one may be able to help you with this. I feel like your future spouse has a lot of pride as well when it comes to you, because there's just something very unique about you. And I think this uniqueness in their eyes is because you are so deep and different. Something very different about you. I definitely sense that you look a little bit different as well. You look very unique. Your physical appearance is very unique. As I look at this star card, I feel like you shine very bright. So if you're in a crowd of 100 people, you stand out a mile. So I don't know whether you dress in a way that's very unique, or whether you dye your hair in a way that's very unique, or whether your facial features or your body just looks very unique. I don't want anyone to be offended here, because I will tell you why I'm saying that. But I feel very alien-esque features with you. Now, I've recently done one of those tests to find out where my origins come from. And asking other people, it's like, oh, you know, what do you think will come out in the test? And a lot of the people that I've talked to, I'm not talking to many people, so I don't know why I'm saying a lot, but I've spoken to the few people I've spoken to, they're like, they look at me and they're like, I don't know, I can't really tell, I can't pinpoint where from. And they always end up saying, like, another planet. You just look like you're from another planet. And at first I was like, oh, is that a bad thing? But then I thought, no, actually, that's a really positive thing. I really like that. Thank you very much. And I want to say it's the same about you. You look very unique. It may be really hard to pinpoint where your origins are from. And it could be because you do come from another planet. Or it could be that your origins come from many different places and you're a big mix mash of lots of stuff. So it's very hard to pinpoint what it is. And there's just something very unique about the way you look. So even just looking at you, you know that deep down you're going to be very different to the regular person. And I want to say that when your future spouse is talking to their friends or family about you, their friends and family will pick up that there's just something a little bit extra about pile number one. There's not many people like pile number one. You're very unique, you're very individual. Now I want to say, and I think this is why the conflict is coming up here, I feel because of your uniqueness and individuality, some people will be really on board with you and they're like, wow, you know, pile number one, she sounds amazing, or I love pile number one, I love your wife, or I love your husband. But then there's going to be other people who just don't get it and maybe a little bit like, like, I don't understand it, I think it's weird, and things like that, okay? So bear that in mind. But the people who don't really understand and they think that you're a bit weird, or there's just something not quite right about it because they don't understand it, okay? Because if you don't understand something, you're more than likely going to be feeling some kind of fear around it, okay? Fear is only birthed through misunderstanding or unknowing, or not knowing. That's what I would say, isn't it? Through not knowing. So people may actually potentially communicate something a bit weird about pile number one, potentially communicate not trusting you as well, which is absolutely like mind-blowing for your future spouse, because they're like, pile number one is the most trustworthy person I've ever met. But it's because people actually fear you because they don't understand you. You've got these extra abilities and these extra gifts that people just do not get. And I do think this is why your future spouse is very physically protective over you, because there may be that element of some people are well up for it, some people aren't. So I do feel like your future spouse is somebody who backs your corner at all times and really does protect you, but also protects that energy because they know that that energy is also going to be very beneficial for them. Now, your future spouse sees you constantly helping people, whether this is your career, whether this is something you just do on the down low in your downtime, okay? They constantly see you healing people, helping people. You're the person who's going to come forward and you're going to be there for a friend. You're going to be there for a colleague. You're going to be there for a family member. And most importantly, you're going to be there for your future spouse. It doesn't matter what you're going through. I want to say, even if you're going through a really tough time, like rough time, like kind of lock yourself in your bedroom and put your head in your hands and just sit in the dark and just be like, why? Even in those times, if your future spouse comes home from work and says, oh, babe, I've had a really bad day, you'll pick your head out of your hands, you'll turn the light on, you'll leave the bedroom, be like, come on, sit down, tell me what's wrong. It's like you're very self-sacrificial in that way, and it's absolutely beautiful, and your future spouse sees that as a massive strength that you have. It's this warrior within you. But there is a correlation here between the strength and the weakness. Now, when I talk about the weakness, I don't necessarily see this weakness being your weakness. I see this being more of an energy that you have which makes your future spouse kind of feel like they need to step up in this area for you, okay? It's like their future spouse feels like the slight deficit, and they realise that is my part to play here, okay? I hope that makes sense to you. So when it comes to what they see as like one of your weaknesses, an area where they feel like they need to step up, I said wished, guys, which means that this may always be a thing, or it may be something that you're very happy with and you're fine with, so you don't ever really change it. But they wish that you would be as caring and nourishing to yourself as you are for other people. Now, this doesn't mean that you don't care for yourself, because I really do think you do. But it's that element of sacrificing yourself at times because you automatically just feel like somebody needs you more. I do feel like this is something that you're okay with, because I said wished. They wished. It's like they may say, I always wished pile number one would put as much energy into themselves as they do other people, because pile number one deserves it. But they do, I think another thing here, they wish you'd see yourself for the angel that you are. They wish that you'd see yourself as this bright, shining, guiding light that other people see you as, because I can see here that you're very humble and very modest. The kind of person to say, it's like you'll stand up in a crowd, for instance, and this is very Aquarian energy as well, a lot of Aquarius here actually. You'll stand up in a crowd and be like, right, I'm full of confidence to stand up in front of these 100 people because I am talking about something that you all need to hear and something that's very important, because we all need to raise the vibration. I can't think of a great example here, guys, just bear with me, but we all need to raise the vibration. We need to change this thing for other people. We need to change this thing for the world. Very much like feed the world, make it a better place, like that kind of thing. If there's anything very humanitarian, you'll stand up in front of 100 people, no fear. Okay, no flinching, no fear. But if it means standing up and kind of showcasing yourself and be like, you know, hey everyone, like I'm pile number one and I'm amazing and I'm a great person, like that kind of thing is very difficult for you. So bear this in mind. If you are somebody who suffers from stage fright and somebody thinks, oh my God, I could never stand up in front of a crowd, it may be that. It may be because you're viewing people around you standing up in front of a crowd selfishly, or standing up in front of a crowd showcasing themselves as entertainment, which is beautiful and it's perfectly fine and it's absolutely amazing and I adore that energy. Leo rising, shout out to you. But you're just a little bit different. And I do think that potentially even your future spouse wishes that everyone could see you in the same light as they see you, but you may hide yourself in some of these cases. Now don't get me wrong, I do think, you know, the people very close to you see you as the beautiful, shining, guiding light you are, but I do think that potentially they want you to be known worldwide. Like, everyone needs a pile number one. Trust in yourself, believe in yourself, share your wisdom, share your knowledge, like you've got a lot to bring. And that's really beautiful. This is really like expansive. This energy is really expansive. But it's because we're dealing with the earthly realms and the etheric realms as well. So let's get into the juicy bits. You stayed this long, okay? We've been very woo for this pile, but physically. How do they see you physically? So again, there's something about your physical body, I want to say, that's very Amazonian, very athletic. I do sense there being curves here, because when I talk about athletic, a lot of people just think about a runner's body, which normally a runner's body typically, which is not true, but a lot of runners are known, or they're stereotyped to have like a very up and down figure, no hips, no shape and things like that. That's not what I mean by athletic at all. I mean strong looking, and again, you don't even need to work out, you just may naturally have very good muscle tone. I've said this before, I think, but I've got a friend of mine who literally has to look at a weight and they get muscular. And I'm like, how is that even possible? So there's like an Amazonian kind of energy to you. There's something very strong. You probably have very good posture as well. So your future spouse sees you as having good genes. That's actually what I want to say here. Overall, they see you as having very good genes. Now, there is something very... Look, I am going to go into a little bit of SNX. But I have to be extremely careful here, because I can get in a bit of trouble, and I don't want to get in a bit of trouble. Alright, because if I get in any trouble, you're not going to see this video. So I've got to really dance around this, but I do see a lot of sexual energy here that I do need to discuss. So because you are so out of this world, and by the way, I think your beauty is very out of this world as well, I'm going to say that, but your energy is very out of this world, quite literally. When your future spouse connects with you on a physical, you know, intimate level, you take them to other realms. Now this makes me think about near-death experiences, and a lot of near-death experiences will talk about going over to the other realm, going over to the other realm, and it feels like colours that were once dull are now brighter. I'm going to try and explain this. It's hard to explain. And even the near-death experiencers will say this is very hard to explain, to actually put into words. So I'm going to try it. But colours are more vibrant when you pass over. Your feelings are more intense and really sensitive. It's like you just think about being somewhere and then you're just there, okay? So when it comes to passing over and things like that, manifestation is very instant, very quick. But that's not even where I was going with this. So manifestation could be something as well. You could be manifesting something. Sorry, sometimes I go off on a tangent, but I really do feel like I need to. I actually feel like you could be manifesting something like a retreat. So you may be manifesting a certain amount of money so that you can go to a retreat, so that you can actually host a retreat, or that you can go on a holiday that is going to be very life-changing for you. Maybe you're ready to travel. Okay, some of you may want to travel. Or it could be raising some kind of money here to start up a business or a sideline for some of you as well. I do want to say that Spirit hears your manifestations, and that's why this message is coming through, because they're saying, look, your manifestations, we hear you, it's coming. But there's something about you. You give this person like a near-death experience kind of experience when you're doing the deed. They're feeling feelings that they've never felt before. Everything is heightened way beyond like earthly senses when you and your person do the deed. And that's why they just keep on coming back for more. Also, when we are drawn to somebody SE-actually, it normally means that we have some kind of healing that person can provide. And again, this is why your future spouse just keeps on coming, because you are there to elevate them. You are there to heal their spirit. Now, at first I thought you were there to elevate their spirit, but there's some kind of healing regarding spirit here. I'm hearing the word witch. So it does make me think that potentially, and I know this is a bit out there, it may not be for everybody, but your future spouse could have been a female in a past life. Because I'm hearing witch, okay? I'm not hearing warlock, I'm hearing witch. So they could have been a female in a past life. And they could have been, is ostracized the right word? For their gifts, for their abilities. They may have even been very scared to come down as a female in this lifetime. So they've came down as a male. So this doesn't happen to them again. But it shows that there's something deep within your future spouse. Gifts deep within there, a spiritual knowledge deep within there that they're too scared to release, and you're here to ease that out of them. And you're going to do this by discussing your gifts, but you're also going to do this through SE-actual healing. Because when I get that feeling, I want sexual healing. Marvin Gaye, that may mean something to you. Or it may not. I mean, I think Marvin Gaye's The Actual Healing means something to everyone. Everyone knows that song, don't they? Now, there's something else how they see you physically, and this is sexual still. And this one may shock you a little bit. But there is a side of you, right? There's a spiritual, enlightening, beautiful, just flowing with emotions and water and amazingness constantly. And then there's a side of you. Because everyone has light and dark. It doesn't matter who you are. I don't care whether you're like a yogi. I don't care. Everyone has light and they have dark. Now, when it comes to the darkness that you accumulate, this can be through people around you peeing you off. It can be through watching content that really upsets you, because you take everything away with you. You can literally watch something that is completely not what you want to see, and you will take that away with you, and you'll feel really weird about that, potentially even up to a week, okay, because you're that sensitive. But when you hold on to those darkness or absorb that darkness, you have to release it somewhere. And you release it in the bedroom, baby, yeah. Because there's a side of you that can be very devilish in the bedroom. But I want to say there's something around the eyes in this moment. And again, please do not fret. You're not being possessed, okay? It's not that at all. It's not like there's it's not that your eyes are changing physiologically. Physiologically. Okay. It's just that you're, and you can't see, but it's kind of like a really dirty stare kind of thing. And they know what mood you're in. They know what they're having that night. Is it going to be my angel? Is it going to be my little devil? And they love that there's those two sides of you, because you're so pure, and I want to say even virginal. And when I say virginal, I don't mean like virginal in like the literal sense, but you're so pure and virginal. It's like you like things to be pure. You like energies to be light. You like to cleanse other people from their darkness. That's very virginal, okay? But then in the bedroom, you're not always that little, you know, their little virginal person, you can be this like wild devil. And you're just releasing the darkness that you accumulate as the days go by, and you decide to do it in that way. And it's very exciting for your future spouse. And also your future spouse is healing you, because your future spouse is recycling that darkness for you, and that's really beautiful. Right, let's have some extras. Voice. So your future spouse sees your voice as being something that's very powerful. I think it's the words as well, the way that you speak. Did I say that you're very poetic with the way that you speak? You can create a 2D concept in something 3D just with your voice. But I also think they like to hear you moan as well. But I also think that there may be something around music with you, actually. You may naturally have a very good voice, or you may actually... for some of you, you do have a really good voice, but you don't feel confident enough to sing and showcase yourself. For some of you, you may actually decide to... Okay, this is going to be quite specific, and it won't be for everybody, but for some of you, you will decide to pursue this music. If it is particularly your voice that you're using, you may decide to write music in particular that is very uplifting for the collective, that does have like a spiritual element, that does have a very strong message that uplifts the collective. And this eases you, and it makes you more confident to actually use your voice in this way. For some of you, yeah, okay, I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to leave that one there, because I don't think that's going to be for everybody. And we've got boobs and chest, but this is because you're so nurturing to your future spouse, so they're very drawn. And physically, like, it's your boobs and chest all the way. They love that part of your body. I want to say, like, they might call you something like magical tits. So yeah, bear that in mind. They like it when you hold them and touch them as well. Okay, they like it when you play with them. They like it when you tease them by kind of holding them, or like, not like this, but like, you know, doing stuff like that with them. They really like that. Got confident here as well, which is interesting, because what came up for one of the weaknesses is they want you to be more confident. But it's because they see that inner confidence in you, you see. They see how confident you can be, and they just wish that you could be that confident in every aspect of your life. And spiritual, of course we had spiritual for you. Of course we did. So they physically see you as quite spiritual. I know that not all of that was physical, but these are the bowls, right? The bowls, they do what they want. They give us what they want. Here's some little bits and bobs out of the actual bowl. Let's just see whether it's actually relevant. Strip tease. I did say they like it when you tease them, especially around the... And you took control. And that is when you turn into this like very devilish side of yourself, when you're releasing all of that darkness. You take control of those moments. Body, in particular, I'm hearing body. Body and butt. They, yeah, something they really like. Did I say? Very Amazonian. Very Amazonian. Okay. Another thing they like as well is the fact that you're very exclusive. I do think that you're an extremely attractive person, but again, there's that modesty around that. So they feel very lucky, because normally somebody with your level of attractiveness could be out there kind of, you know, well, I can get this person, I can get that person and that person, so why don't I just like enjoy the divine fruits of life? But you're not like that. You're very exclusive. You're more evolved than that. You're higher than that. And they feel very lucky that they have this amazing prize and it's all theirs. You kind of have this energy of hiding yourself to a certain extent, so that other masculines, if you are feminine, or other people who would be attracted to you, don't approach or don't put you in any difficult situations. Like, you have a level of respect for yourself and your future spouse there as well. So I'm just going to throw that in there. So I'm going to be very quick with this because I have been reading for so long, and I do apologise for keeping you for this long, and the camera is about to cut off, but you chose the Moonstone crystal. Now I want to say with this crystal, if you are somebody who struggles to dream, or you're like, oh, I wish I dreamt more, please get yourself a moonstone, especially like a lovely palm stone moonstone like this. It's so comfortable to hold, you barely realise that you're holding it when you're in bed or sleeping or whatever. So moonstone, seriously, like this makes you dream like crazy, and they're not like actual mad dreams. They're dreams that you can easily decipher. So they're definitely dreams that are messages from guides and spirits and ancestors. Also, because this moonstone crystal is likely to make you dream, it also has like an ability to help you drift off as well. So if you do have trouble sleeping, I do recommend a moonstone crystal, a palm stone crystal. Sleep with it in your hand, or you can sleep with it by your bedside. Now, the moonstone crystal does connect to the feminine, okay? So I do think that you are very much, no matter what, if it's the same sex, you are the feminine, your person is very masculine, okay? And if you are a masculine watching this, you are probably very heavy in your feminine energy. Now, I want to share something with you because you may be watching this and thinking, no, I feel very masculine in nature, actually. I don't feel feminine. But there's a realization that I had about myself, and I do think this really did, it shook the house down for me, okay? Do you know what, when I started YouTube, I used to do hauls and things like that, and I used the hashtag shook the house down. I made it up myself, and I was like, shook the house down, and it was very Mean Girls. It was like, I'm going to make shook the house down happen, and everyone else was like, no, shook the house down is never going to happen. But I might actually start using it on the channel now. So I was shook the house down, hashtag shook the house down, guys, because I did some inner healing. I was working on balancing my masculine and feminine. Now, I thought that my masculine was completely in check, on point, in check, run the show, even to the point where I was like, I'm sure I was supposed to be born a male and not a female, because I just always felt so masculine. But when I delved deep and I really worked on balancing out my masculine and feminine, I found out that my feminine is the energy that I'm at most ease with. Being feminine is very easy for me. Being feminine is very enjoyable for me. I feel extremely comfortable in my feminine energy. And even in my astrological birth chart, my feminine energies are highlighted in a very positive way. But my masculine energy is very debilitated. And I was like, it's my masculine that's damaged. And the reason that my masculine had stepped forward in my life so much and was so overpowering and overpowered my feminine is because my masculine didn't feel masculine enough. My masculine was wounded. My masculine was overcompensating for how demasculinated my masculine felt. So it meant that my masculine was forcing control, even though my masculine had no idea what it was doing, and it was quietening and pushing down that beautiful, natural feminine energy within me. So it's something to look out for. If you do feel you're more of a certain energy, it doesn't always mean that that's your stronger energy. It can be your weaker energy, and that's why it's really important to go within and really assess the true balance within you. Does that make sense? It is really important, because we can just assume. So yeah, I'm talking to the divine feminines here, whether you're masculine or feminine. So the moonstone is also very emotionally supportive, and that is what you are to your future spouse. You support your future spouse emotionally, you guide them emotionally, you allow them to be their most free emotional self, and it also encourages new beginnings. And I do feel like there is a connection here between things like the 5D, the new earth, the shift. You want the world to be a better place, and you're waiting for it to change. You're waiting for it to change internally for you, and you're waiting for it to change externally. And you are very open to that change. It is coming. Your internal change is coming very soon. External change, I really feel that's going to come with your internal change, because your perspective of the world around you is going to be very different as well. But also because of this energy around new beginnings with the moonstone, it's telling me that a new beginning is on the horizon. The new beginning is very, very close. So, part number one, I'm going to leave that there. This was an extremely long reading, so I really hope you're still here at the end of the reading. If you are, I want to say a massive thank you for joining me today and allowing me to tap into this energy. And if you do like this reading and you resonate with it, please drop me a like. It helps me know you like the video, but it also helps the video circulate so more people can see it. And if you do resonate with this and you want to tell me how, please comment down below. I absolutely adore hearing from you. But if you want to tell me which pile you claim, or you want to tell me the name of your pet, please do so down below. In my last reading, I said, comment down below, let me know what you had for dinner. And someone did actually comment what they had for dinner, and I was really confused. I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. And they're like, you told us to comment what we had for dinner. And I was like, oh, right, yeah, I did. Duh. So if you do comment and let me know the name of your pet, and I do comment back saying, I'm really confused right now, please remind me, because I'm more than likely going to forget. But just comment the name. Do you know, if I just have a load of random pet names in my comments, I'm going to be super confused for about half an hour, but I think that'd be really funny, to be honest. But also, if you do like content like this, please subscribe, because I absolutely adore making content like this for you. And pile number 1, take care of yourselves, and I shall see you next time. Goodbye. Hello, beautiful, fabulous and wonderful pile number 2. Welcome to your reading. Let's have a look and see how your future spouse sees you. So you have chosen the beautiful Celestine crystal here, and I will touch up upon what this crystal represents at the end of the reading, but I do ask that you remind me to do that because I may forget. So when I sat down to your reading, pile number 2, I felt out of body. I felt like my soul had just left my body. And the best way that my physical, logical mind could process this was, Sarah, you have forgotten something. But I'm looking on my desk and I have not forgotten anything. So I don't know whether I'm speaking to somebody who has recently left their body or feels like they're leaving their body. This could be because you have astral projected or discovered astral projection. You could have done some kind of ceremony which has meant that you left your body. For some of you, it could be a traumatic event that's happened, which has meant that you've left your body. And I want to say, if that is the case, I'm sending you so much love and supportive energy with that. Or this could be I just noticed as well, look at the imagery on that. That lady has definitely left her body. But I was about to say, as I looked at that card, you could be having some kind of spiritual awakening or spiritual evolvement, and you do feel very different. You may feel like you're just floating above the ground these days because it's a very different energy that you're in. I also want to say there could be some Capricorn risings watching this as well, because Capricorn risings, your chart ruler is Saturn, and Saturn has recently just moved into Pisces, and Pisces is the sign of the spiritual realms, the etherical realms. The etherical, is that a word? Ethereal realms. So for a lot of Capricorn risings at the moment, you may not feel as grounded as Capricorn risings normally feel. You may be having more spiritual experiences. You may be having spiritual awakenings. Okay, so bear that in mind, any Capricorn risings watching this. But moving from that into the signs that I'm picking up, we are getting Capricorn again, because we do have the 10th house out here, and Capricorn rules that 10th house. And we also have Aries energy here as well. So don't be alarmed, don't be disheartened if you do not have like an Aries or a Capricorn sun, moon or rising. This could just be the energy that you embody, or you may have these energies very prominently in your chart, but you may not realize it. And I'll use this example for pile number 1, and I'll use it in this reading as well. For instance, me personally, I have a Neptune in the 12th house, and Neptune in the 12th house is actually a really, really strong placement, to be honest, to have Neptune. But a lot of the time, if something's in the 12th house, it's very hidden. But that Neptune is conjunct my ascendant, so it makes it a little bit different. It's not a hidden Neptune, it's actually got a flavour. It actually adds a flavour to my rising sign. So I actually have a flavour of Pisces rising to my personal Capricorn rising. But yes, so this energy is very different to my pile number 1s. Pile number 1s, when it came to how your future spouse sees you emotionally, it was very watery, very sensitive, very intuitive. Now, a lot of people don't realise that Capricorn energy is highly intuitive, is highly spiritual, is highly, it's like the wisdom that a Capricorn energy has is the wisdom of earth secrets. That's the best way I can actually describe that. Because when we talk about Capricorn energy, we are going into ancestral energy, so ancestral knowledge. Anyone with Capricorn energy or heavy Capricorn energy will have some kind of job in this lifetime to work through ancestral karma. But because of that, you will have a lot of support from your ancestors, the ones who have passed, okay? Spiritually, they are there bringing you knowledge from the beyond. But at the same time, you will have a piece of each of those ancestors within you as well, okay? So Capricorn energy is very wise, and they do have a level of knowing to them. So bear that in mind. So I'm not saying that you guys aren't intuitive here. I'm just saying it's a different type of intuition. But there's not a lot of water energy here. There's not a lot of emotion. And I don't think it's because you're emotionless. I think it's because you're the type of person to not dwell in your emotions and you just keep going. And this is how your future spouse sees you, someone who just keeps going. Now, I'm getting the song. Very simple song. Brianna, what is the song called? Am I going to have to sing it? Okay, I'm gonna have to sing it. I don't know the name of the song, okay? But it goes, maybe this is what you came for. Lightning strikes every time she moves. I was laughing, I sing. And everybody's watching her, but she's looking at you. You know the song, don't you? It does make me think that when it comes to you emotionally, you're not the type of person to funnel your emotions just into your future spouse. I think your future spouse is very aware that there are more people who need your emotional energy, your emotional support, as well as them. So I don't know whether you have kids. I don't know whether you have family members that are really reliant on you, or you have a career. And this could be through some kind of like teaching, some kind of therapy, but it doesn't have to be. But you could have a career where there's a lot of people that rely on you. Bear in mind, you could be a manager of some kind, even a supervisor of some kind, managing director, and a lot of people are going to rely on you. So it really gives me the energy that your future spouse knows that more people rely on you than just them. So they understand that your emotional energy needs to be shared out. Now, I also think that you are extremely brave. I feel like you are extremely passionate as well. And it's an energy, but this comes out in your emotions. So a lot of the time, your future spouse won't be able to tell when you're low. They won't be able to tell when you're struggling, because you always keep a brave face. But at the same time, when it comes to your emotions, if you are feeling down, or if anything has got you down, you have this optimism to get yourself back up again. So I think you see what I'm saying about this energy being more emotionless or seeming more dry than pile number one, but it's because it's just a very different energy that we're dealing with, and that is what I'm getting. I also want to say for pile number two, if you are somebody watching this who doesn't have like a high powerful position in your career or a high powerful position in life, you will be. I want to say when you marry your future spouse, you will already have reached some kind of big recognition, some kind of big achievement. And even if this energy of you being very important, having to share yourself out emotionally to multiple people, it could literally be a family. You could be watching this thinking, oh, I really want a big family, or I really want a family. I'm here to tell you, yes, you are going to have that family. You are going to reach that high level of status, whether that be inside of the home or outside of the home. So that is something that's coming for you. Now, let's have a look and see how your future spouse sees you on a soul level. Now, bear in mind that not everyone is that deep. Not everybody understands themselves on an internal level. So for some people and for some of your future spouses, this energy is going to be very unconscious for them. They won't know why their soul is pulled to you. They won't really see how they see you on a soul level. Now, we've got awakening here, and I did start the reading by saying I felt out of body, and for some of you it could be because you are evolving spiritually. But I feel like you evolve quicker than your future spouse does. I feel like you may be the one who brings on the awakenings for your future spouse. I definitely feel on the physical plane you're somebody who keeps on moving, but I feel like on the spiritual plane you are also somebody who keeps on moving. Now, I feel like you are also somebody who will or has gone for or worked towards and strive towards your soul's calling. So you are going to be somebody who is going to achieve your most abundant destined potential. If there is something that burns deep within you, something that burns real deep within your soul that you know that you want to do and achieve in this lifetime, that is actually something that you are going to do and achieve in this lifetime. Even if it seems ridiculous, even if you look in the bank and you're like, I don't have enough money to do that, I can definitely see that you are going to be doing that thing. Something is going to happen, or occurrences are going to happen, and you're going to be able to do that thing and achieve that thing and live that life. But if you can see it in your mind, it exists. It already exists. Now, you could be somebody who's really into reality transurfing as well. If you've never heard of reality transurfing, you may want to look it up, you may want to Google it, you may want to pop it into YouTube and find out some information about it, because it may be something that does help you get this thing that you want to get, this thing that burns deep within your soul. But your future spouse is drawn to you because you are very influential to them. They also share whatever your destiny is. And I do feel like it is something around healing, and it's healing in a very creative way. I don't know whether you want to move closer to water, or whether water kind of boosts your awakenings as well. If you are someone who's going through a spiritual awakening, whether you feel maybe more enlightened when you're around water. I feel like the way that you feel around water is the way that your future spouse feels around you. It's like there's something about your energy that elevates your future spouse. And their soul is really drawn to that. Their soul is drawn to you like you are drawn to water, is what I'm hearing right now. So I can see here that you're somebody who's been through deep trials and tribulations. But I think through these trials and tribulations, you've been able to see these from a different perspective. It's like you're able to see the reasons behind these trials and tribulations, and how those trials and tribulations boost you further and boost you forward. Even how these trials and tribulations have got you out of stale positions in your life. I definitely feel like very shamanic energy around you. And when we think about the shaman, I do apologize if I do not get this completely correct, but I feel like part of the rite of passage when it comes to becoming a shaman, and I hope I'm right here, but I'm sure you have to spend a certain amount of time in a cave on your own. It's very hermit energy. And here we have that dark cave. So I feel like you've been through, I can't pick the card up now. I feel like you've been through a lot of dark situations which have enlightened you, which have brought further opportunities. And I do think you're somebody who's very good at recycling people's darkness into light. Okay, that's what I'm getting at here. You've recycled your own darkness into light, and you're very good at recycling other people's darkness into light. And this may be something that you actually want to do as a career, or something that you do as a career. And if you do this as a career already, I really do feel the energy of you wanting to be more well known and more widespread. And interestingly, when I looked at this card initially, I did see these crystals as jewels, okay? When I look closely, they're crystals, but I was seeing them as jewels when it was on the table. And it does make me think that you are going to get the earthbound abundance to match the spiritual challenges you've overcome. So you are going to get payback for that. So if you're somebody who hasn't reached high abundance in this life, I really do feel like you are going to be very comfortable, and you are going to get some kind of compensation for everything that you've been through. And you're most probably going to get that compensation by expressing what you've been through, expressing the tools that you've used to get you out of this dark cave, expressing the tools that you've used to recycle your darkness into light. Now, I do think that your future spouse has darkness that they want recycling through you, and I really do feel like you do that for them. And I don't think it's anything crazy, I don't think it's anything highly traumatic, but they see this in you, they see this power within you, they see that you have certain abilities, and very practical abilities as well. It's like you're one of those spiritual teachers. And no offense to any type of spiritual teacher, okay? Like, you're all absolutely amazing. Everyone is absolutely amazing. Everyone takes spirituality and they make it what they make it. It's very personal to everyone, and so it should be. It's not like religion where it's a one size fits all. Spirituality is, it fits you how it fits you. So everybody has a right to express their spirituality in a way that's individual to them. So please don't think that I am discerning anybody's view or spiritual practice here. But there are certain spiritual teachers, and I say this because I personally don't vibe with these ones, and that's fine. I don't have to. Who are very like, it's like the love and light community, okay? And I love a bit of love and light. I do use a bit of love and light, but some people are very love and light. Everything is going to be fine, you know, that's kind of energy. Everything's going to be fine. Just trust, just believe. Just think positively at all times, even if your house is falling down around you. And that is fine. And I do believe that that does work to a certain extent, but it's very difficult to do. Where you, when it comes to your spirituality and your spiritual practice, it's very earthbound, it's very practical, it's very grounded. So I think a lot of people are drawn to your healing mechanisms because they can see it, they can feel it. It's got an element of practicality to it. I know this is getting very individual now, and I know not everyone watching this is going to want to be a healer, but there's got to be a connection here. If you've chosen this path, there's got to be a connection here. You must be resonating in some way. For some of you, I feel energy around Kundalini awakening, so I don't know whether anyone resonates with a Kundalini and a Kundalini awakening here. Either way, you're an advisor of some kind. That's what you want to do. You want to be an advisor of some kind in this lifetime. And that doesn't have to just be spiritual here. You've got a lot of earth knowledge and a lot of wisdom, practical wisdom. And your future spouse loves that and they're drawn to that. Now I noticed the lightning here in this card. Lightning strikes every time she moves. Now when I think about lightning, it's electric. It brings life. It gives life. It's what made Frankenstein, and I don't even know Frankenstein, I've never read the book, I've never watched a film, but it's what brings Frankenstein, a lifeless being, to life. This could be what you do. You bring life back in times where people feel like there's no life left in them. And this might be what you do for your future spouse and why their soul is drawn to you and how they see you on a soul level. Okay, so when we look into your strengths and your weaknesses viewed from your future spouse, we'll start with the strengths. 8 of Cups here. You're somebody who's not afraid to walk away from something that is not fulfilling. You may be somebody who has walked away from previous jobs. You may be somebody who's walked away from situations where other people think that there's still life in it. So here we go, like you bring new life into things. Now I'm even picking up on things like interior design, reworking things, so reworking furniture, reworking vintage clothing as well. That's something else I'm picking up on. Maybe something that you want to do, or a dream that you have. You've got this optimism that you can create something new if you leave something old. And your future spouse sees that as a massive strength that you have. You have this optimism, and that optimism lights new fire and brings new life. And you always stay true to yourself. If you're not happy with something, you will say. If you want to cut something out, you do it in a somewhat selfish way, but the selfishness is admirable. Because I do feel like your future spouse may be the opposite, and they may stay in situations because they are scared to hurt another person. They may stay in situations because them leaving may disadvantage another person. But they see you being brave. They see you being selfish in times where selfishness is justified. And they see that as a massive strength. And as I said, you've definitely been through trials and tribulations because you definitely had to walk away from a lot in your life. But you don't let the anxiety get you down. You don't let it debilitate you with the 9 of Swords here in reverse. And it's very much correlating to this Aries energy here as well. It's like you're a phoenix rising from the ashes. You constantly rise from the ashes, because upright we've got a monster in this card, but when it was upside down it really did look like a phoenix to me. You may be known as a phoenix who's risen from the ashes many a times. You may be one of those people where people go, how in the hell does pole number 2 do it? They rise from the dead over and over and over again. And your future spouse sees this in you. And I'm not saying that you don't feel anxiety, because you do, but you don't let it get you down. You don't let it make you lock yourself in a cupboard and stay in there with a... This is an awful example. I'm really bad at examples today, but you don't let it keep you on the sofa watching Netflix for 4 days straight. You feel the anxiety and you're like, right, how can I recycle that anxiety and turn it into some kind of achievement? I can definitely resonate with this actually, because, and a lot of heavy Capricorn energies will resonate with this as well. But when Pluto, and it is going to go back to this degree, so brace yourselves guys, but when Pluto hit the 29th degree, I don't have any planets at 29 degrees in my chart. And when Pluto hit the 29th degree, it felt like all of my Pluto transits, while Pluto was transiting Capricorn for 20 plus years, it felt like all of those transits all at once. And Pluto transits on their own are very, very, very challenging and very difficult. As soon as that Pluto hit 29 degrees, I felt like I was having them all at once. I was struggling to sleep. My heart was racing 1,000,000 miles an hour constantly. It just wasn't stopping. And this was for a whole month. But instead of letting it get me down, I decided to put it into projects. I said to myself, okay, you know, you may age 10 years. You may have to get surgery to remove your eye bags. But all of that energy that you're feeling, push it into projects. Make something from this difficult time right now. And that is the energy that I'm picking up with you here. I think you have a lot of self-belief in yourself and you really do feel like the world is your oyster with the Two of Wands. You've achieved, but you always want to achieve more. You could have some Sagittarius energy as well, or heavy Sagittarius energy, or Jupiter in a very prominent place in your chart, because you just always want more. I've gained this and now I want more. I've gained this thing and now I'm on to the next thing. Now this takes me over to the weaknesses, and when I talk about the weaknesses here, I don't want you to think that your future spouse is looking at you like you're weak. This is not the case at all. This is your future spouse seeing an element of you that is a little bit weaker. So they feel like they need to step in and kind of help you with this, because yes, you're helping your future spouses so much here. We can see this on the soul level, but your future spouse needs to help you too. So this is the element of you that's a little bit weaker, where your future spouse feels like they need to step up, where they feel like they have advice for you, okay? So we've got the Two of Swords here, Seven of Pentacles and the Five of Wands. And I think this Two of Swords correlates very much with this. Okay, we've got the two twos. We could be looking at a twin flame connection here between you both, by the way. Two of Wands. I did say, once you've achieved something, that's on to the next. I feel like your future spouse wishes that you could stop to celebrate the achievements. I think you don't see something as I feel like you don't see something as an achievement unless it's a big ass achievement. And I mean massive. Like making your first million. That's probably what you consider an achievement. Even if it's making your first 1,000, you're going to be like, no, I ain't got time to celebrate that. I'm on to the next thing. I need to make 2,000, then I need to make 3,000, so on and so on. Your future spouse wishes that you'd stop and pat yourself on the back a bit more and appreciate the achievements that you have made and the things that you have gained. Because your future spouse looks at you like, wow, this person is a millionaire in the making. It's that kind of energy here. I don't know when you've ever met anybody and you just thought, you're going to be a millionaire one day. That is literally how your future spouse sees you, because of how enterprising you are. But they wish that you would thank yourself and appreciate yourself and congratulate yourself more. You don't see how far you've came. You don't see how much of a high position that you actually have. I also feel like they wish that you would invest more time into yourself as well as these work projects. And when I say, I feel like your work projects are investment into yourself, but I think they feel like you should be investing more time into your fun. Maybe you're somebody who is very restrictive when it comes to partying, drinking, food, things like that. And I think they feel like you need to let go a little bit. I think that's the energy I'm feeling here. They think that you should be letting go a little bit. But if you let go, you're probably not going to make that million. And I feel really bad saying that, but that's like a millionaire's mindset. You keep on going. But there's also the mindset of working smart, not hard, as well. So we could be looking at a bit of that as well. Bear in mind, if you're watching this and you're working yourself to the bone, see whether there is any avenues where you could work smarter rather than harder. Because here, I definitely see that your future spouse thinks that you burn yourself out a lot. You're very burnt out. And that does create a bit of conflict within you. Your outside world flows very well, very swimmingly, but your inside world can be a little bit conflictory. Conflictory, that's not even a word, is it? It can be a lot of confliction because you're burnt out. I think you may have a lot of ideas as well. And I feel like your future spouse is saying, shh, quieten the mind, one thing at a time, part number 2. But at the same time, there could be a lot of competition when it comes to your current career or the career that you may be moving into. If you do want to move into something that your soul really wants you to move into, that thing that you don't think you can do, there may be a lot of competition there, and it could be that competition that's stopping you from doing that thing that your soul really desires as well. So that's for some of you. Do not be afraid of the competition. There's always going to be competition no matter what you do. I was speaking to somebody recently and they said, I want to do YouTube and I want to talk about investments and things like that. And I was like, well, yeah, that's great. Go for it. And they're like, but I don't want it. But I'm not going to do it because there's too many people doing it. The market's too saturated. And it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Any market that you go into is going to be saturated. You're not going to be able to think of a big idea like that. Like finances, doing videos about investments and finances. Like that's a subject in itself. You're not going to be able to think of a whole brand new subject that no one else is doing videos on. If you want to do investment videos and things like that, and you want to help people with their investments and their finances, you have to be original within yourself. You can't think of an original idea. You have to be the original person. You have to be the person who teaches, advises in an original way. It's your personality that you need to individualize. I don't even know whether that's a word. So that's advice for anybody watching this who does have that kind of mindset about something. Oh, it's too saturated, too many people are doing it. No, you do it and you make it different. And what makes it different isn't the subject, it's you. Now, let's get into the juicy juicies and let's find out how your future spouse sees you physically. And again, I'm getting that Rihanna song. It just makes me think that you are highly attractive, you're highly sought after, you're somebody that everybody wants to date. You're somebody that everybody wants to wifey or hubsy. Oh, hubsy, we're going to use hubsy. You're someone that everyone wants a hubsy. Because we have the Queen of Swords here. We have the Empress alongside the Queen of Swords, and then we have the Knight of Swords as well. Now, they do see you as somebody who has a very sharp tongue, along with potentially some very sharp physical features. And I could be talking to my Capricorn risings again. Cheekbones for days. Cheekbones for days. But they also see you as somebody who's so utterly beautiful and mesmerising that you deserve worshipping. They definitely are very prideful about the fact that you're extremely FCUKable. Now, I have got to be really careful here regarding my language when it comes to going into more SE-actual matters, because I don't want to get in trouble with YT. I can't talk about these things, otherwise you won't see this video. So I'm going to dance around the more naughty things that come into my head, okay? I'm going to have to. But they see you as the ultimate feminine, but they actually see you as an ultimate goddess. There is something very powerful about your femininity. And all femininity is powerful. Like, I'm not saying, like, feminines aren't powerful and the men are the ones who rule the world. No, we're equals, okay? We are equals. We just have different jobs and different strengths. But something very powerful about your femininity, which makes me think that your femininity has an air of masculinity. When I think about the Queen of Swords, I do see her as the most masculine of the queens. You may be very well balanced in your masculine and your feminine energy. You know when to bring out your feminine and be very hypnotizing, and you know when to bring out that masculine and get exactly what you want. I love that. It's so powerful. But I also think you may have like an air of masculinity to your physical appearance, and that could be that really strong, sharp bone structure. You may have sharp features. I see like a high, I don't know what this is called on your lip, the top part of your lip. But I'll show you the Queen of Swords here. See, she's got a very high Cupid's bow. I see you having a very high Cupid's bow. That's very desirable. And that's something that your future spouse really digs about you. It's like they just see your lips and they just think they're so kissable. I want to say as well, they really like it when you wear hats or hair accessories on the head. Okay. see what the bowls have to give. I feel like they just want to worship you. They want to adorn you. There's something about the way you dress as well. It's very regal. It's very expensive. You ooze money. That's what I want to say. You ooze money. Even if you don't have a lot of money, you look like you've got money. Intense. And that is that bone structure, or that, it's like you've got, and again, don't be offended, but it's like you've got a resting bitch face, but you also have a very rich bitch face as well. It makes me think, when I was in the kitchen before I started this reading, while I was just in between readings and taking a deep breath, I heard, "You're gonna be a rich bitch." So if you're watching this, and it doesn't matter whether you are a feminine or a masculine watching this, you're gonna be a rich bitch. Alright, so write that down. Like, you know when you have to do lines at school when you've been naughty? I will not throw ice cream. No, I will not throw ice cream. What the hell? I will not throw pens across the classroom. I will not throw pens across the classroom. I will not throw pens across. I can't say it. You know what I'm trying to say? Well, in this case, I'm going to be a rich bitch. I'm going to be a rich bitch. I'm going to be a rich bitch. Or I'm a rich bitch. I'm a rich bitch. I'm a rich bitch. I'm a rich bitch. It's funny how I can say that with ease, but I can't say I won't throw pens across the classroom. I can't even say it slowly. Intense. Resting bitch face. But they love it. I think your future spouse does like a domineering person. There's somebody who likes to be dominated, and you satisfy that fantasy for them. Healing, and this does take me back to what I was saying before with 1111. You transform people's lives. You could be like a life coach. You could even be like a stylist. Because you know, you completely change the way that they dress, it completely changed the way that people perceive them, and it changed the way that they, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. I don't want to keep going on because these are long videos today. But healing, we've already discussed that. They find you very healing. And it's why they just want to bang, 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 bang. Bang, bang into the room. I know you want it, bang, bang. All over. Best dressed. Best dressed. Sorry, the camera's in a different position today. I'm up here constantly. I don't know how many times I've done that. Best dressed. And I do think it's that energy of like, you dress very, it's like classy, but it's like you dress like you are expensive, like you are rich. I'm going to pull some more. Two things. Boobs, chest, okay. And it makes me think you may resemble, if you are no, it doesn't matter, does it? You may resemble your future spouse's mom in some way. There could be something similar about your energy. This is going to sound awful, but I'm going to say it anyway. You may be the more evolved version of their mom. So they may feel, or they may have been very drawn to you to begin with because you resemble their mother. Now, this is either because they have a strong relationship with their mother and they love their mother, or they have a difficult relationship with their mother and they're trying to repeat that relationship and make it right with you, if you know what I mean. But like, you're more evolved, you're like an upgraded version of their mother. You're using the energy that their mother uses, but in a more enlightening and powerful way. It also makes me think that you may have a strong relationship with your future spouse's mother as well, because you may be able to advise her and help heal her. And then we've got false twin flame out here. So when I get to false twin flame, I feel like this is a relationship that can pose as a twin flame relationship. You may have a lot of similarities, but this may not be a twin flame relationship. This may be a soulmate relationship with two people who are just very similar. So it doesn't mean that you're on the twin flame journey. It doesn't mean that you're on because the twin flame journey can be very difficult. So for a lot of people who think they're in a twin flame connection, being attached to that term, twin flame, can really influence a relationship in a negative direction. It can also make you feel like you have to be with somebody as well, because they're your twin flame. You can't get away from them because of the runner and the chaser and all that jazz. I think this false twin flame is coming out to tell you You may question it's a twin flame relationship at times, but it's not. It's a soulmate relationship. Don't put the twin flame name on this relationship because it may influence the relationship in a more difficult and unsavory direction for some reason or another. Okay. Let's see what we can get out of the SEX bowls. Let's see whether anything wants to come out that's relevant. Please, Spirit, the relevant ones. Oh, right from the bottom. I have been down there for a while. On top here, as I said, they like it when you are domineering. They like it when you take control. I do really sense the energy around your future spouse that you are going to teach them how to be a bit more like business savvy and grounded themselves, because I feel like your future spouse has very similar dreams to you, very similar goals, but I don't think they've been brought up in a very assertive family. That's what I'm getting here very strongly. And you're going to give them a bit of like this assertiveness that you have. Like you've got an overwhelm of assertiveness. You're going to share that assertiveness with them. You're going to teach them to be more assertive, and they're just going to boom, boom, boom. They're just going to achieve their goals, and it's going to be because of you, because of the help that you've given them. Dominate me. There we go. They like the fact that you take control, that you're domineering, that you can be on top. They just love to worship. It makes me think that they may have they might have a lot softer energy than you do. I do feel Leo energy with them. I feel a Cancer moon, but I feel like I'm like a stuck record when I talk about Cancer moon, because when I think about someone who's very devoting and serving, I do think about Cancer moons. They love to nourish in a very emotional and soft and warm way, and it's beautiful, and that's the energy I'm feeling here. We could also be looking at like a Virgo moon, but I don't necessarily feel like a Virgo moon would lack that assertiveness. Okay. Now let's talk about the crystal that you chose, the selenite crystal. I'm going to have a little cough. Selenite. So I have my notes down here when it comes to the crystals, because some crystals I know, some crystals I don't, and I don't normally deal with this crystal very often, but it is one of my faves because look, it glitters. It glitters. But all that glitters isn't gold, as they say. Although this is gold. But maybe that's something you need to hear. All that glitters isn't gold. It doesn't matter how much money you have. Maybe you were very superficial at one point. Maybe you were in a very superficial place, and it's like, I'll be happy when I've made $1 million, because I'm talking about that million thing. When I've made $1 million, I'll congratulate myself. But I think maybe you're awakening to the fact that money isn't going to make you happy. Making money do something you love is. Look, I've got to say with this pile, money is still involved. It's not, do you know what, I'm going to sell everything, sacrifice everything, and just live a life that I love. There's still this enterprising energy within you that wants to achieve. But I think you've realised that you were chasing the wrong achievements. That no matter how successful you became, or no matter how much money you had in the bank, you still felt lost, you still felt empty, you still felt like you'd forgot something, like something was missing, and that is how I started the reading. It felt like I'd forgotten something, it felt like something was missing on my desk, but there was nothing missing. I love how you come full circle at the end of the reading. I love that. Thank you. Thank you, spirit guides. And now you know, either because you've worked it out yourself or you've watched this and been like, I'm going to think about that, I'm going to ponder over that, Sarah, thank you. But now you know that you were searching for your, I don't even know what word to use for this, satisfaction. You were searching for your satisfaction in the wrong places. Spirit was never going to let you stay on a road where you were just making money, where you were making money doing something you didn't enjoy. Spirit wasn't going to allow that, because you're supposed to make your money, make that $1 million, if it is one of your goals, doing something that you effing adore, that you love, doing something that you believe in. And that's what this is. That's what this whole reading is about. It's about your future spouse, but it's also about you making that money, creating that abundance, doing something you love, answering the call. What is your soul calling you to do right now? That's where your $1 million lies. Even if you think, how would I make $1 million doing that thing? Well, it's not about the subject, it's about you and how you do it. I hope that makes sense. Celestine. I was going to call it selenite then. Celestine. Celestine helps elevate the spirit, helps elevate the soul, has a lot to do with spiritual awakenings. Also, it can bring peace, calm, and focus. Focus stands out a lot for me within this reading because you are very focused, you're very tunnel visioned, and I do think this is also something you need to look into because you can be very tunnel visioned and miss certain details. Like you've been tunnel visioned on being satisfied and having comfort through physical abundance, but you just wanted that you were seeking it in the direction that seemed like the quickest direction to get there. But really there was more, there was a different direction, something that's full fulfillment, not just physical fulfillment. It's the fulfillment of the mind, the body and the soul, rather than just the body and the mind. You're just missing out the soul. But peace and calm. And I do think this is telling you that peace and calm is awaiting you. It is awaiting you on this life path. I know you're not there yet because your future spouse is like, you're running yourself to the ground, you're burning yourself to the ground, you burn yourself out. And you might be like, I love it, I love that feeling of being burnt out. Because Aries energy does. It's like, yeah, I'm driven by my hormones. Bring it on. It's actually very crazy energy, Aries energy is. And I'm an Aries sun, so I'm not calling Aries crazy. I'm calling myself crazy as well. I know firsthand it's flipping mental. But yeah, you get off on that. You get off on the challenge. And it also helps you see the bigger picture. Celestine helps you see the bigger picture, and I do think that is what we have literally just discussed. The fact that you're going for gold. You always go for gold, but there's more to it. Two things here actually with that. There was more to your life than just making money and getting financial security. There was a whole, and I'm feeling it as an energy, like a whole expansive energy connected to your career that you didn't realise. But at the same time, I think because of the dark things that you've been through, the trials and tribulations that you've been through, you've always been able to see the bigger picture. You've always been able to understand that there's more to a bout of bad luck or something negative that's happened to you. You've always been able to find the deep root meaning to what that is. So you've been able to see the bigger picture around that as well. And that's why no matter what happens to you, no matter how many times lightning strikes you, you keep on going because you find meaning in it, and you make that you transform that meaning into fuel to fuel you forward. And I think you do have a lot of natural destined wisdom, divine wisdom, I'd say, not destined. So for some of you, there may be destined wisdom on its way to you, but I think a lot of you have a lot of naturally ingrained divine wisdom, which just naturally knows how to look deeper, knows how to see this bigger picture, that understands that anything negative that happens around you is to push you back onto your life purpose. Because when we're on our path, everything is going to go quite well. I say quite well, by the way, let me just sort out this a sec. Shut down? No. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. But when you're on your destined path, things are more than likely going to go in your favour. They're going to go your way. Things will happen, balls will start rolling. But when you come off your destined path, even if that's just resting on your destined path, it doesn't mean you've got to take a wrong turn. It could literally just be resting on your destined path. Something negative will happen to keep you going. Something negative will happen to boost that anxiety to keep you moving. Okay, because when we're anxious, we want to just keep fidgeting, we want to keep moving. So when you feel anxious, don't lock yourself away. Get moving, get things done. Okay, that's what anxiety is for. It's to get you flipping moving. Because if there's a lion and you're staring a lion in the face, you'll get hit with a hormonal response of anxiety to get the F out of there and run, okay? So in day-to-day life, in this modern day-to-day life, when you're feeling anxiety, that is you working at your most optimum. Optimum. And as well, there's a time to move and there's a time to think. But believe me, when life brings you lemons and pushes your anxiety, it is a time to move. It's a time to get moving, okay? Back on that destined path. Get back on there. You've got a marathon to run. I also had an experience recently where Spirit said to me, if you don't use it, you lose it. And this is very much around health. So bear this in mind as well. This may resonate to you. It may resonate to somebody that you know, and you may be able to pass this information on. But I was told, if you have been given a divine gift of some kind, and you're not using that gift, and you get to a certain point in your life and Spirit can see that you're not using that gift, they're going to take it away from you. And when something's taken away from you, when something's debilitated, it's going to manifest a lot of the time as ill health. And I hope this is making sense, and I hope I'm making sense, because sometimes I don't even know whether I'm making sense. I just talk. I just channel it. And this is going to be just a regular example, okay? This doesn't need to be a resonating example. Just say you've got a very active mind that is built to write books, write novels, write storybooks, fictional books, take people to other realms, but you don't ever do it. Either you're scared or you're lazy. Spirit will take that gift away from you, and you're going to experience that as some kind of dementia. You may experience that as a hit to the head and you lose part of your memory, okay? This is an example of what I'm saying here. If you don't use it, you lose it. Now, my spirit guides like to scare the F out of me, okay? It's tough love in this camp, all right? The high maintenance hippie HQ, it's tough love here. And yeah, that's what they said. If you don't use it, Sarah, you lose it. Because I've lost a lot within the past couple of years, health-wise, and I've always been super healthy, and that is what they told me. So guess what? I have to use it. And it's going to be difficult. But yeah, so that may resonate with you, or that may resonate with somebody that you know, okay? So make sure that you're always pushing yourself to your full potential, because you're given the gifts that you're given for a reason. Spirit will be very peed off if you don't use them. Okay, pile number 2, I'm going to leave that there. I want to say thank you so much if you have stayed till the end. These are very long readings today, so thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it so much. If you have stayed till the end and you did enjoy this reading, I'm sure if you have stayed until the end, surely you must have enjoyed it. I'd hope you weren't just sitting there soothing for a whole hour. But yes, if you did resonate, please drop me a like. If you feel comfortable to comment and let me know how you resonate, please comment down below. I absolutely love hearing from you. Also, if you want to tell me which pile you claim, or tell me what your favourite animal is, just comment that down below. Also, if you do like content like this, please subscribe, because I absolutely love making content like this for you and I want to make more of it for you. Pile number 2. Take care of yourselves, and I shall see you next time. Goodbye. Hello there, pile number 3. Welcome to your reading. Let's have a look and see how your future spouse sees you. So you chose the beautiful selenite wand, abracadabra, alakazam. We will be touching up upon what the selenite crystal represents at the end of the reading, so please remind me to do that, because I may forget. And yes, let's get into your reading. Let's discover and decipher your spread. So we've got Virgo energy here, Gemini energy here, and Scorpio energy here on the board. So you could be one of these signs. You could have one of these signs very prominently in your birth chart, but don't be disheartened if you don't. If it's not your sun, moon, or rising, don't think that this reading isn't for you. It could be that you embody these energies within you, or it could be that some of these energies are very prominent in your chart and you don't realize it. Now, use this example for pile 1 and pile number 2, and I'm going to use this example again for you, just so you understand. So for me personally, in my birth chart, I have Neptune in the 12th house. Now, the 12th house is normally the hidden house, but because that Neptune is actually conjunct my ascendant in the 12th house, it does give me an air of Pisces rising. So if somebody brings up Pisces energy in a reading, for instance, I don't have a Pisces sun, moon, rising. I don't have a Pisces Venus, Jupiter. I don't really have Pisces anything, to be honest. It rules my 2nd house, but that's about it. But I do have Neptune conjunct the ascendant, which means that I do have an air of Pisces rising to me. So it is actually relevant to me, but I wouldn't have known that if I didn't do astrology. Okay, so you may have some of these energies more prominently in your chart than you realise. Now, I'm hearing a song. And I cannot remember who the artist is, but it's a very well-known song. I'm sure you're going to know it. And I'm going to sing a little bit of it now. But it's a song that goes, hey, Carly J. Repson. I've just remembered who it is. Carly J. Repson. Okay. Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy. So call my number, or call me maybe. Something like that. But the part I'm hearing, and I do not actually know the lyrics to this song, so I don't know why these lyrics are very clear in my mind right now, but you took your time with the call, I took no time with the fall, you gave me nothing at all, but still you're in my way. It's that part that's really standing out to me. So I'm hearing something about hot wax now as well, so hot wax. It's like I'm hearing something along the lines of chasing you felt like I was having hot wax poured on me, but I feel like there's going to be some kind of rhyme or saying there, but I just can't think of what it is. I'm not too sure what I'm getting here. I don't know what the message is. I'm really struggling, so I don't know whether my guides want to try and decipher that for me, but I'm hearing something about pouring hot wax, but it's more like a phrase. It's not really like physically pouring hot wax, it's more like a phrase. And I can't think what the phrase is. If you know what the phrase is, if there is a well-known phrase about pouring hot wax and something being painful, please comment it down below, because it's like your future spouse is saying, it was quite painful. It's a little bit torturous to try and get you to give me attention. So don't get me wrong, this is nothing sadistic. It's like there's a phrase that's trying to come out, and I've never heard the phrase before. I've never said the phrase before, and all I can hear is something around pouring hot wax, and I can't hear the rest of the phrase. So I do apologise about that. So getting into your spread and into your cards. Now, the way that your future spouse sees you emotionally, I feel like you're very diverse emotionally. Now, I don't want you to take this the wrong way, because diverse emotionally is a great way to explain this. But you could be somebody whose moods change a lot. And it's because your attention changes a lot. You have a very fast mind. Your mind is going 100 miles an hour to the dozen. That's what I want to say. 100 miles an hour to the dozen. Is that even a phrase? What is going on with all these phrases with this pile? I'll tell you what as well, when I was pre-pulling this pile, cards were flying everywhere. So it makes me think that this is a very chatty energy. It's an energy that really wants to talk. It's a very fast moving energy. I think this may even be a pile 3 today, where you guys are like, okay, I can see that the other piles are an hour long, but can we make this 45 minutes to half an hour? So I'll see what I can do for you guys. But I do sense that energy as well. It's like a little bit like rush, rush, rush. Come on, let's get this done. Now the thing is with you, okay, some people may see you as a scatterbrain, but you're actually really organised. Your mind is actually hella organised, and it does make me think, because we've got Virgo and Gemini here, and both of these are ruled by Mercury, you are highly intelligent. Like, you have like a mind palace. I don't know whether you've ever seen the more modern Sherlock Holmes, not the American one, the English one. I've never watched the American one. I'm sure it's absolutely amazing, but the English one, it's an absolute masterpiece. And Sherlock Holmes has this mind palace, and he talks about walking down, and I think there are depictions, like visual depictions of him walking down this like corridor in his mind, and there's like bunches and bunches of filofaxes, different rooms full of filofaxes, and he kind of gains knowledge by walking visually down this mind palace and going into a filofax and picking out a piece of information that's stored in his brain. So I don't necessarily think you do this, but now I'm speaking about it, I'm thinking actually that would be really, really helpful. It's giving me the Akashic records as well for some reason. I'm hearing the Akashic records here. So I don't know whether you're into, whether you work with the Akashic records, or you do work with the Akashic records, whether you're interested in accessing the Akashic records, because your mind is so broad and diverse that you're like, you've got such a thirst for knowledge. And you may be into a lot of different things. And I know we're going beyond future spouse here, but you may be into a lot of different things. And people are like, whoa, 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 calm down. Just focus on one thing at once, but you can't help it. Like, you just... I'm also hearing photographic memory. So I don't know whether some of you have a photographic memory, or whether some of you are borderline photographic memory. I remember hearing an interview from Chris Brown, and somebody was asking him how he remembers all of the lyrics to his music. And he said, I've got a photographic memory. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. Chris Brown is superhuman, but you could be superhuman in some way. You could have some superhuman abilities, and most certainly your future spouse sees you as being superhuman. The Virgo energy is standing out to me as well. It's like you're very, I want to say you're very broad-minded, you're very emotionally diverse, but something about speaking your emotions as well. This is a very chatty energy. I feel like you're very open and expressive with your emotions. I feel like you speak your emotions. I feel like you say how you're feeling. You wear your heart on your sleeve. You wear your emotions on your sleeve, but they're not necessarily expressed as emotional. They're expressed more in a very mercurial kind of like organized way. It's like if you're feeling sadness, and I don't know if I'm even going to be able to give an analogy here or an example, but if you're feeling sadness because somebody has stolen your lunchbox. Oh my god, why are we going here? Why are we doing this? You wouldn't go home crying to your parents and go, oh, you'd be like, so I had a really bad day today because somebody stole my lunchbox, but I was really excited to eat the chicken that was in my sandwiches. I was just really feeling that chicken, and someone stole it. I never got to eat the sandwich. And like, there's just like a kind of like a, I even want to say a lull to your emotions. I don't know whether you add humour to difficult times as well. So you could be highly distressed, but everyone is like, lol. And you're like, yeah. So there's like a practicality to your emotions. That is what I'm trying to say here. But I think a lot of people don't realise how incredibly deep you are. You are. I don't believe how incredibly deep you are. With this Pluto card here. I don't know why that's made me laugh so much. You are so deep, but because of the way that you express your depths in a very practical and logical way, people don't see this. They think you're very surface level, but you're not. You're very deep as well. You are in between worlds. You're up here and you're down here. And it really makes me think about pile one, where I was discussing that pile ones were up here and their future spouses were down here, and how I sometimes struggle to communicate properly because I'm in the middle between the two. And I actually think you are too. We're two of the same. So yeah, I feel like you're between worlds. You're very diverse. And your future spouse sees this. Now your future spouse does see your depth. Okay, this is the difference. A lot of people around you don't see your depth, but your future spouse does see your depth. I think your future spouse has had to learn to understand that even though you sound okay, you're not always okay. So there is an element of unpredictability when it comes to your emotions, the way that your future spouse sees your emotions. Now, I do think your future spouse likes being kept on his toes. And I'm saying his here, his. I don't want to stick to a gender because this is for anybody. This reading is for anybody. It's also diverse. But I heard his here very strongly, okay? So this may be a pile where the future spouse is a male or has very masculine energy if they are a female. Okay, bear that in mind. If you're a masculine watching this and you're looking for a wifey, your wifey may be very masculine in nature. They may have a lot of masculine energy. But your future spouse likes being kept on their toes. So they don't mind this to a certain extent, but there is a level of unpredictability with you. Now, this makes you very exciting. But at the same time, you're not exciting in a dangerous way. You're exciting in a very pure way. I do feel like your emotions have like a childlike energy to them as well. It's like a childlike light-heartedness. I also think that your future spouse really enjoys the fact that you talk your emotions out in a very practical, logical way as well, because there is a level of unpredictability there. And bear in mind, we are getting two sides here. I think that is because we're working with Gemini energy here, and Gemini is the twins. It's the two different sides of the brain. On one hand, it's unpredictable. On the other hand, they know how you're feeling when you actually do express how you're feeling. So again, it's a little bit of both. It's between worlds again. One minute they don't know whether you're actually upset, and they don't know whether you're okay, and that's very unpredictable for them. And the next minute, they know exactly what's wrong with you because you have a very good way of communicating, expressing emotions in a way that's not going to distress them as well. You won't scream in their face and be like, I'm really upset because you did this thing. It's more the fact like, you did this thing and it really upset me, and this is why it upset me, and this is what I think we need to do to move forward from this. And I love that. I love that about you. So, on a soul level, and I know I'm going to get stumped with this one, on a soul level, okay, how does your future spouse see you on a soul level? Bear in mind, not everybody has that level of depth and understanding and an inward knowing of themselves. Stuttered over themselves and or have an inward knowing of themselves to see somebody at a soul level. So a lot of the time, for a lot of people watching this, your future spouse will be feeling this pull or seeing this from an unconscious level. They won't be conscious about this. So how they see your soul, what I noticed straight away with these cards, it's very, very colourful. It's giving me like zippy kind of energy, happy energy, light energy. There's something extremely light and airy about your soul. It's a very uplifting soul as well. It's like you can touch something and it turns to rainbows and unicorns. And you may be watching this being like, that's a bit childish. But that's the best way I can describe it. Bing! Rainbow, bing! Turns into a unicorn, and it's just like magic surrounds you. You're very magical. It makes me think that you do have a lot of, I didn't think this, but I wanted to naturally say extraterrestrial abilities. I'm feeling telepathy really strongly here with this pile. So it doesn't have to resonate for everybody, and if it doesn't resonate for you, don't worry, this is most probably still your pile, but I'm feeling telepathy, and it comes from some kind of extraterrestrial ancestry. I very rarely go into extraterrestrial realms on this channel. I am interested in it to a certain extent. I mean, I'm interested in ufology and stuff like that a lot. Like, that's something that, I mean, if I'm not here on YouTube, or if I'm not reading for you, or if I'm not looking after my son and running after him and getting absolutely knackered, I'm listening to some kind of podcast about extraterrestrials and UFOs and stuff like that. But hey, maybe you do that too. Maybe you like that too. Or maybe it's a direction that you should look into, because maybe you're going to have some insight or have some enlightenment from it. Okay, I've just been interrupted by my guides, and they've said that some of you have been... I can't believe you're making me say this. Some of you have been abducted. Some of you may... Do you want to know a story? Okay, I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to tell you the story about the time that I got abducted by aliens. I'm laughing because I can just imagine a lot of people watching this like, oh, for God's sake, she's not, is she? Well, yeah, I am. So I feel like some of you may have been abducted. I also feel like some of you may have, and I feel like this could scare a lot of people, I feel like some of you may have had some weird instances that you've never correlated with abduction. But if you really think about it, you could connect it to abduction as well. So my story, very brief story. I used to live with an ex. I used to live with an ex and his family. And one evening, I was in bed, sleepies, doing my own thing. Now, I didn't feel getting taken out of the bed. I didn't feel that part. I felt getting back into the bed. So, I was in my bed, or my boyfriend's bed, and I felt the covers slowly come back onto me. By the way, I'm completely paralysed at this point. I did go through a phase in my life where I had extreme sleep paralysation. I'd have it on a regular basis. Now I tend to be able to get myself out of it. I can feel when it's coming on and it's like, I get myself out of it. But on this occurrence, I was feeling the quilts very slowly being pulled back on me. And I mean ridiculously slowly, and I could feel every inch of it. I was conscious, fully conscious by the way, but I was paralysed, but I could not open my eyes at this point. And whilst the covers were coming onto me very slowly, I was hearing Michael Jackson, You Rock My World play on loop. And I mean, these quilts will come on very slowly. Bear in mind, Michael Jackson is one of my, I love Michael Jackson. I absolutely do. He is one of my all-time faves. He lights me up. Another story, which I'll probably leave for another time, but I might put it in there if I actually really do feel like it. There's a story about Michael Jackson and when he died, but maybe we'll come to that another time. But You Rock My World isn't one of my favourite songs. I do like it, don't get me wrong, it's not one of my favourite songs. It's not one of the songs that I know all the lyrics to. It's one of the songs that I'd listen to if it came on. I'd happily keep it on, but it is not one of my faves. And it was playing in loop, every single word for word for word for word in loop. And it played probably around maybe twice, maybe 3 times tops in my head, round in circles, the whole lyrics, the whole song, front to back, okay? And then by the time the quilts came on to me fully, something went beep, and then I wasn't paralysed. You Rock My World stopped playing in my head, and then I was able to open my eyes. Now, when I opened my eyes, I looked straight at the doorway, because the doorway was straight in front of the bed, and there was a very long, thin, tall being there, and I mean stick kind of thin, sickly. But bear in mind, there's a strong light behind them as well. Now, at the time, I didn't realise it could have been a UFO, but now I think, oh my god, was it a UFO in the garden? Bear in mind as well, this boyfriend's house, the back of the house led onto woods, quite a lot of woodland area as well, okay? And yeah, this stick, tall, like 6 foot something tall figure just stared at me, and it dipped its head to the side. And you can't see me doing this, but in my head, it was a sign to say goodbye, the dip to the head to the side. Now, if you are into things like this, and you know anything about physical body language of aliens, and whether a dip to the head, to the head, to the hide, a dip to the hide, a dip to the head means anything, you know, about blah blah or anything like that. I don't know why I'm whispering. I don't know why I'm doing this about that. I have no idea. Like, I don't know why I'm scared that anyone's going to hear me. Yeah, let me know if you know what that dip means, because they very distinctively dipped it, and then they went backwards and off they went. And I woke up in the morning and I was like, because his name was Mitch. I don't know what I'm whispering again. His name's Mitch, and I was like, Mitch, I think I was abducted by aliens last night. And he was like, okay. He said, you might want to go and speak to my mom. I went downstairs, spoke to his mom, like the most amazing woman in the effing world. Loved his mom so much. And she was like, yeah, you were abducted by aliens. Let me tell you about the time where I was abducted by aliens. And I was like, okay, this is why it's happened here, because we have another fellow abductee here. And I was probably abducted because of her. But anyway, that is a little story for you. Okay, let's get back into the reading. I might speed that story up so that you're not wasting too much time listening to it. So yeah, there is something around extraterrestrial energy here. Now, I do actually feel your relationship is a big, big part of your destiny. I do think you're somebody who is going to be very successful when it comes to your career. I do think you're somebody who is going to be really popular and have like a great group of friends, okay? I do feel like those kind of things are, I want to say, they do come to you with an element of ease. But I do think it's because of a couple of things. One thing is you're very well balanced. As I said, you're up here and you're down here on the earth, okay? You're in between two worlds. But you're also in between two worlds when it comes to you. You're very balanced between your conscious and your subconscious. You're very balanced when it comes to the mind, body, and the soul, the Holy Trinity. And as I say that, I do look at this and there is a triangle here. Okay, you're very well balanced. So everything around you also seems to balance itself out very nicely for you. I do get a really nice energy with you. But another reason why I think things seem to fall in your lap, and I want to say seem because I feel a bit bad saying that, because I think there's an element of, well, it looks like it falls in my lap, but I do put in effort, okay? That is what I feel here, but it will look and seem like things fall into your lap and everything is just like easy for you. But no one's ever going to have it easy, okay? It's just not what life is about. But I think on the other hand, there are gifts that you were given, and this could be gifts of potentially, for example, you may be evicted from your home and you're like, oh my goodness, I've been evicted from my home and the housing market is through the flipping roof, or what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? And then a beautiful property, which is like 20 minutes away from where you live now, comes on the market at an even cheaper price than the property that you're living in, and it's better. So I can sense like energy like that happening around you. A lot of fated things happening around you. But I also sense you taking these more difficult fated events in your stride. And that's how you get the most positive outcome, because you don't look at it and go, oh my goodness gracious, everything's gone to shit. You look at it, and especially these days, it may have been a little bit different when you were younger, but these days you look at it and go, oh, it's because there's something better for me around the corner. Like, you can feel it, you just know it now. You've got this like trust, level of trust for the universe, and this very strong level of trust for yourself. And I think this is something that your future spouse sees on a soul level about you. You bring an elevation to your future spouse's soul, but you also bring an element of trust. You have a level of trust for the universe. You're teaching them to have a level of trust for you. I feel like your future spouse may be somebody who used to go for people who they could control, and not in a toxic way, but just in a security way, a self-esteem security way. And then they met you, and then this is where that Carly Rae Jepsen song is coming in. Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy. Here's my number, so call me baby, or call me maybe. I don't know the flipping lyrics to that song. and they have no idea why you are in their way. Da 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 da, put you in my way, something like that anyway. And no matter what, they could not detract themselves from the magnetism they felt for you, but they knew that you were someone who could make them feel very insecure, but they couldn't help themselves. They're magnetized towards you, and I think you really did put in the chase. You were like, oh, I want this, no I don't, because it's that Gemini energy, like, oh, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, I don't know, you're the one for me, I don't know, I'm gonna give it a go, but then I'm gonna step back out again. It's like that kind of energy with you. So I really do feel like you trust in the universe. They can see that trust in you, and their soul needs to learn how to trust in another person. And that is what you are teaching your future spouse, and that is why they are drawn to you, and that is how their soul sees you. Okay, so how does your future spouse view your strengths and your weaknesses? So 212 as I look at the clock. So I don't know whether 212 means anything to anybody, whether anyone's been seeing 212, looking at the time at 12 minutes past 2. But I don't know why, but I thought 222 is there as well. Now 222 is normally a twin flame number. I'm not necessarily getting twin flame energy here. It could be, but I'm feeling more soulmate. But for some of you, it could be twin flame because this is a collective reading. Enough about numbers. 2 here again. Straight as I look at the High Priestess here, we've got the number 2. Okay, so there's a lot of energy around the number 2. I also want to say a little bit of word of advice here. When you're in relationship status with this person, you are going to question whether you're supposed to be with this person. You are very curious. You will kind of look elsewhere. You won't do anything, dodge, but you will be like, is this for me? Is there something better for me out there? I don't know. You got that kind of energy. You've got very flirty energy as well, but it's beautiful, it's light. It's not seedy, it's not doing anything wrong, it's really light. You're the kind of person who could flirt with a lamppost. Let's just put it that way. You could charm the pants, you could charm the light bulb out of a lamppost. Anyways, I don't even know whether that was funny or whether that was really lame, but whatever. It is what it is. So, strengths. The strengths that they see in you. Now, I did say short while ago that you are very balanced between like the mind, the body and the soul. You're very balanced between the conscious and the subconscious, and this means that neither one of them takes control. Now for you, because you've got this balance, you really know yourself. You've got a full view of yourself. You know yourself, you know what you want, and you also know that what you want is what your soul also desires. So you do tend to move through life very lightly, very optimistically, always going for the things in line with you. But there's like an inner you, something about knowing, seeing what others don't see. You see what others don't see. You see what others don't see about themselves. Do you know what? With you, I really get the energy of somebody who can see, so pull someone else's talents out. Simon Cowell energy. You can see things in other people that they don't see in themselves. You may be somebody who's very good at discovering talent. You may be somebody who sees an artist, a very low-key artist, and you know next year they're going to blow. You know they're up and coming. You may be able to talk to friends and be like, have you ever considered applying to be a radio DJ? And they're like, what? No. And then it's like, look, like there's something in you. There's something in you that needs to be expressed. You're not an introvert, you're an extrovert. And then they're like, oh my God, yes, you are right, I'm an extrovert. You see things in people that they don't see in themselves. I'm sorry if those examples were super crap, but I don't know why I keep saying with you, but it is what it is. But that might be something you say, well, it is what it is. It just is what it is. I trust that life is going to flow me in the direction that I'm supposed to be in. It just is what it is. At the same time, another strength that your future spouse sees in you is the fact that you don't miss an opportunity. And I love that. That is very Gemini energy. You do not miss an opportunity. And you never stay still. You're always going, you're always working towards something. You could be somebody who struggles to sit down and watch TV. You may be like, okay, I've sat down, I've watched TV with you for 15 minutes. Now I'm going to go and do the washing up. Now I've got to do the cleaning up. Also, I do think you're somebody who drags people out the house. So you could be somebody who's quite social and you're the person who kind of gets the vibe going, come on, come out. I know you don't want to come out. I know you feel like a cold's coming. But come on out. You know, have a little bit of whiskey, get that down you. It'll make you feel much better. But yeah, you're somebody as well who doesn't stop moving. You're somebody who's always going for something. You're somebody who, just say for instance, you're out of work, because you know, when there was a time where we were all losing our jobs. I don't have to say when, we all know when it was, don't we? Yes, we do. You may have been furloughed, you may have been made redundant, but you were like, right, now I'm going to study this thing that I've always wanted to study. And it could be something really obscure, but you're like, right, yeah, I'm not going to stay still, I'm going to do something. Or you might be like, right, okay, I'm going to start my own business. That is what I'm going to do. So they see these strengths in you, neither weaknesses. And bear in mind, this isn't your future spouse looking at you like, you are weak. They are looking at this as something that they could potentially advise you on. They're looking at this as an element of you where they can step in and potentially support you with this in some way. So support and advice is the best way. I should have just called this your future spouse's support and advice for you rather than weakness, but guess what? Should we all say it together? It is what it is. You will not be told. That is what your future spouse sees in you. You will not be told. You will not be swayed, and you will not be told, and you will not be controlled. You will not take advice. Is this true? Is this true? I hope this is true and I'm not offending someone here. But I don't know why, I just feel a little bit more attractive just with a little bit of the belly bar showing. There we go. All did. You will not be told, you will not be controlled. It's very difficult for you to take advice because you are so set on your own ways. Do you know, I think it's as simple as that. Are there any extra messages from Spirit here regarding this? I'm getting you know best. I'm getting don't let anybody sway you when it comes to big life decisions, because you're very trustworthy when it comes to your big life decisions. A lot of people will see you as somebody who just jumps into things, but you actually do the research. You do the due diligence. I can never say that, due diligence. And you do the research. But people don't see this. And I don't think you have time to explain this to people. You're just like, I'm just doing it because I want to do it. But they don't see that you've actually really thought about it and you've weighed up the pros and the cons. But you also don't feel the need to tell them that you have. I don't know why this part, you're making me giggle a lot. But I do feel like Spirit is saying you may need to listen more to your future spouse. All they're trying to do is protect you. That is what I'm hearing here. They tried to protect you. And I'm actually hearing, listen to your future spouse, because even if you don't want to take their advice, absorb their protective energy, because it's love. It's love that you need. It's love that is going to boost you. Okay. So, juicy juicies, juicy juicies. How does your future spouse see you physically? How does your future spouse see you physically? Well, we've got the Queen of Wands here. The Queen of Wands is the hottest queen in the deck. Oh my god, she's so hot. So hot. That's the Queen of Wands. So they think that you are fire. Super, super fiery. I heard body oddy oddy. I don't really use that phrase. I think I may have said it once or twice on the channel for lols. I want to say they really like the fact that you suit bright colours or you wear bright colours. Or they especially like it when you wear bright colours. I'm also hearing that they notice you at a time where you're wearing bright colours. Neon, I'm hearing neon. Do you go raving? Do you go rave? Ravey ravey. That's so Raven. I don't know what that just came into my head. Now my throat's closed up. I think Spirit is saying, shut up. No, I can't shut up. I've still got to complete this pile. I feel like your future spouse sees you at a time, and I think you meet them in public. I do think you meet them in public, but you meet them at a time where you're wearing something very neon. So you may go raving, you may just naturally wear something neon. You may have like a neon bag or a neon belt. It could even be like something like a neon hair clip. Like it could be anything neon, but they notice this about you, and it's kind of like, you know when the sun shines and it hits your retinas and it's like, oh, kind of thing. And like, you can't see anything else but the sunlight. That's what it's like when they first see you. They're like, I can't stop looking at this neon item of clothing that they're wearing. I'm really feeling like neon shorts or neon trousers now. It makes me think that they like your butt, but you're also wearing something that's drawing the attention to the butt, and they're like, I can't not look. Like, I can't, why are my eyes so magnetized? But it's also a soul thing with you guys as well. They're magnetized to you as well because of the soul pull. You two are supposed to be together. And I did say before, you may think that you're not supposed to be together at times in the relationship stage of this relationship. But you are. Trust that you are. Trust that your future spouse is going to trust. And you won't get married to them until they have learned to trust you. And don't be offended. They just don't trust many people. They may have had a childhood where they couldn't trust a parent and it's affected them in their adulthood. Now they also, I think this is where the lack of trust comes in, okay? Your Gemini energy, whether you're sun, moon, rising, whatever, I don't care. I don't care what it is. I do care. I actually do care. I really care about you. I care about everyone on this channel. But you're curious. You're curious as hell. Your future spouse normally can't take that energy. And you're curious, you're always looking for the next best thing. And I think your future spouse just naturally thinks you may be looking for the next best man or woman. It's not the truth. It's really not. But it's coming up here, which tells me that they get off on it as well. It is a kink. Because it's something they need to heal within themselves, they need to heal this insecurity within themselves, they are going to want to act that insecurity out when it comes to bedroom antics. Now, I've told every single part so far, I've got to be very careful when I talk about sex at the moment because YT does not like it, so I've got to really dance around the subject. So I'm going to try and be as descriptive as possible whilst also being tame and not getting into any trouble. I don't want to get into any trouble. But you may find that they may have these insecurities very noticeably, but they may push for menage a trois. I'm really trying to dance around this. You may find that they like to show you off, pedestalize you in quite an asexual way, because they're trying to heal this insecurity they have through FC UK and get out. So they're actually really attracted by your curiosity and your openness. And I don't necessarily think that you want to do any of these things that involve other people entering you and your future spouse's private space. You're very curious, but not in that way. I think you can have fun talking about it, but I don't think you actually want to do it physically. I really don't. But they just get off on that. And they get off on your curiosity. I feel with the Hermit here. And it did take me a little while to tap into this energy and work out what it is, because the Hermit energy is always, it's looking within. It's studying, it's discovering, it's learning so that they can teach. But why is this coming up in the physical? It makes me think that physically you're a guiding light for a lot of people. They really like that. I think you're very popular. I think you're extremely popular, yet there's a distance between you and the people that kind of worship you, fan on you. Because with this Hermit in particular, they're up on a mound of some kind, shining their guiding light. I don't know whether you're a performer of some kind or you want to be a performer. If that is the case, you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. If you would like to get into performance, I do feel like when you meet your future spouse, at least when you marry them, you're going to be doing some kind of performance. You're going to be doing some kind of performing in some way, something where you're on stage and you're shining bright. This could also be a tutor of some kind, a public speaker of some kind. Just a teacher even, you know, it could be a teacher. But there's something about you standing up for many to see, with a lot of worshippers around you, even if those worshippers are school kids, and you are shining your guiding light. You are guiding people with your knowledge, with the thing that makes you a star. I feel like you are a star, but there's more to you than that. I don't know whether you grew up in a household where you had to perform or be of use to be noticed, because I'm gathering this here now. You are very self-confident. You're very proud of yourself. You're very comfortable with yourself. 2121, as I look at the clock, and I did mention 212 with this reading before. But you know that you feel like just you being light and expressive and colourful isn't enough. You need to have something to give. And that is what you do. You give. You give to the people around you. You give knowledge. Even if this is a comedian as well, we could be looking at a comedian or somebody who wants to get into comedy. If you're watching this and you want to get into comedy, you haven't done it yet, it's going to happen. You're going to do it. You're going to be on stage at some point. You're going to be shining that light. You're going to be lighting the fire within other people just by making them laugh. Okay. I am going to pull some extras about the physical things about you. I also want to say that your future spouse really likes, and I do feel like you wear a lot of jewellery. You could wear some very specific standout pieces. They really like your jewellery. They like it when you adorn yourself in jewellery. In like a very goddess kind of way as well. They just like that. I don't know whether some people watching this could dress in a very romantic kind of way. Or I'm also getting trendy as well. Very trendy. Where you wear like all those different rings. Like you stack your rings and things like that. I can see that. They really like that. There's something about your hands. They really like your hands. They also love it when you wear lingerie. And I know that sounds very cliche. Well, of course they do. But specifically, they like it when you wear the colour green. So they love green lingerie. Okay. Hadouken. Hadouken is a move in Street Fighter. It's a ball of energy. Blam. Blast somebody with a ball of energy. And that's how your future spouse feels you lured them in. You made this ball of energy and you blasted it at them, and they had no choice but to be taken down by it. It was like, look, okay, you've hit me with your energy and now I'm completely yours. Eyes. They love your eyes. Now, when I was looking at the Queen of Wands, I was looking at the eyes and there was like a very distinctive stare that I was seeing, but I didn't mention it because I thought, I just didn't think. Okay, let's put it that way. Sometimes I just don't think. But I was looking at those eyes and I was thinking, I don't see your facial features being very sharp. I see you having a very soft face, but there's just something about your eyes. They're very expressive. It's like you've got a very cute face, I want to say, but your eyes are very SE-XY, and they love that. They love the contrast. And again, Gemini, contrasting energy. Spiritual here. So they see you as very spiritual. I know some of it isn't physical. I know, all right. Okay, I get that. Every single pile has had boobs and chest out. Every single pile. How they see you physically. Boobs and chest. They really like the boobs and the chest in particular. On you. And authoritative. And this is the part of you will not be told. And again, like, they see it as an element of you that they need to advise you around. But again, they really dig that. They love the fact that you won't be told. They love the fact that you won't be budged. It brings you an air. It's like there's this, I wanted to say, right, I wanted to start this reading off and I never said it, but there's like a bit of a distance between you and your future spouse. Now, you may be somebody watching this thinking, yeah, like I don't completely merge with my people that I'm in a relationship with. Like I have to have my own things going on. I have to have my own life. I have to have my own friends. You know, I like to balance out my relationships with my own personal life. So you may be like, oh yeah, like, yeah, whatever. Like, no, I'm not going to completely merge with my partner. Of course, there's going to be an element of distance. The element of distance is exciting. Okay, but I do sense there just being a little bit of distance here, and not in a negative way at all. Just in a way where you're two very individual individuals. Now, I do think that your future spouse does, it turns them on, the distance between you both, but at the same time, it makes them think, what is my pile number 3 up to? Does my pile number 3 love me? They may actually question a lot, do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? And you go, well, bloody hell, a bit needy. Your pile number 3 may have like more watery energy, may have more like even like a Venus conjunct Jupiter or something like that. So they like to be like loved and worshipped, and I think you're a little bit more independent, so you're not always thinking about telling them how absolutely amazing they are and fabulous and how much you love them, okay? I told you I love you has just came out. I did go into the SEX bowls, but I told you I love you, and that very much does just confirm what I just said. And what's this? Sweat. They like to see you sweat. They like to see you, I think it's a bit more than that. I think they like to see you wet. As in like coming out of the sea or coming out of the swimming pool or coming out of the shower. That really turns them on. I think you may look very SEXy when your hair is wet or when your body is wet. They really like that. They've got a thing about doing it in the shower with you. They've got a thing about doing it in the sea or doing it in the swimming pool or doing it in a jacuzzi. But they love it when your hair is wet. And I must say, they love it when your hair slips back. That reminds me of Mean Girls. It's like, I think you should wear your hair slicked back or something like that. So it just gives me the energy. They love it when your hair is slicked back. And if you look at this card here, the girl in this card does have her hair slicked back. It's not wet, but she does have her hair slicked back there. So, right. We are going to talk about the selenite and what this crystal represents and see whether it actually correlates to the reading. So, the selenite crystal charges other crystals. So if you want to charge up your crystals, you can pop your crystals in like a selenite bowl or pop them by a selenite crystal and it will charge those other crystals. And this is your energy. You're very uplifting. You're very light. Everything you touch turns to rainbows and unicorns. And I think it's because you are like a walking selenite crystal. You just have the ability to charge other people up. You're the life and soul of the party as well. That's what I'm hearing right now. Also, the selenite crystal enhances wisdom through spirituality. Like, a lot of people who don't know you very well miss the fact that you are very wise. They don't necessarily see that. As I said, I started the reading by saying some people may consider you a scatterbrain. That's not the case at all. You're highly intelligent. And the selenite crystal removes negative energy through purifying and cleansing. And that takes me back to this Virgo energy. There's something very pure about you. Your curiosity isn't naughty. Your curiosity is on a very, makes me think, and this is the second time today I've talked about near-death experiences. But a lot of people in near-death experiences, when they go to the side, they say that their soul is so curious. There's like a childlike curiosity to the soul. And it does make me feel like you always carry around this childlike curiosity with you, even though you are an adult, even though you are very intelligent, even though, I'm not saying kids aren't intelligent, that was a really awful thing for me to say. But even though you're very well developed, that's what I want to say, and very wise, there's this childlike curiosity about you. And it is this childlike energy that you carry around with you that you never lost, which is how you charge people up, which is why your energy is so light. And it's beautiful. It's like, for instance, my grandma had, I may get this one wrong, it's either ME or MS, but my grandma had one of those. And she suffered with it for years and years and years and years and years. And then I was born. I'm not being big-headed now, all right? I'll just tell you a story. And then I was born and my energy cured her. She didn't suffer with it after that, and she always put it down to me because my energy cured her, because she was so happy and elated that there was a new bouncing baby girl that she said she was cured. And kids are really healing tools. They're really healing. And a new child being born, when a child is born, it's coming to my head. When a new child is born, for like grandparents and things like that, it can be so healing in a very uplifting, enlightening way. For the parents, sometimes, okay, it can be very healing and uplifting for the parents as well. But it all depends where your soul's at. Because the child will come in and the child will push you to heal parts of yourself that maybe you haven't looked at for decades. And sometimes that can be very difficult. So for me, in my experience, my son has forced me to heal parts of myself that I never thought I'd ever have to look at, that I thought I'd get away with pushing it under the carpet for the rest of my life. And my son comes along and is like, no, we're healing that SHIT, mummy, we're healing that ish. And I'm like, dang. So either way, whether it's an uplifting healing or a kind of dark night of the soul kind of healing, children are healing. Childlike energy is healing. It's a pure soul, so it's going to heal you. And that's something that you carry around with you, and you cleanse and you purify and you heal people through that. So yeah, there we go, pile number 3. I said I was going to get through your pile quickly and I didn't, but what am I going to say? It is what it is. Okay, yes. So I want to say a big massive thank you for joining me today. I want to say if you have watched up to thus far, thank you so much. I appreciate it so much, and I really do hope you enjoyed the reading. If you did, I do ask you do me a little favour, and if you could like this video, that would be absolutely amazing. It shows me that you like the video, also helps the video circulate so more people can see the reading. Now, if you did resonate to this reading, I would love to hear from you down below. You can just say I resonate. You can tell me your life story if you want as well. I absolutely love reading those comments. But if you just want to tell me what your favourite colour is, let me know down below. Also, if you like content like this, please subscribe, because I absolutely adore making content like this for you. And pile number 3, take care of yourselves, and I shall see you next time. Goodbye.